Hey everyone, so this is going to be a video, as you can see from the title, drugstore versus high-end. So it's going to be like a comparison between drugstore products and high-end products and seeing which one is actually better, which one requires you to actually spend money on, which is worth it, which isn't. Maybe this could save you some money, or maybe you could look into investing in a particular product. This is my personal take on it, so you might like something that I don't, or vice versa, but I'm just showing you and giving you my own personal take on personal feedback on a particular product. So you don't have to take it. If you already have a product that I don't like, I am not saying stop using it. It's just what I feel and what's worked for me and what hasn't. You know, people get the impression that if something is high-end, it must be a lot better than a drugstore, because a drugstore product would normally be cheaper, so you think you'd get what you'd pay for. So something that's meant to be cheap shouldn't work as good as, or work as well as a high-end product, but that's not always the case. First one will be foundation. Personally for me, I haven't had a lot of success with drugstore foundations, in the sense that I haven't found many that really last long or reduce shine or do what it says, that sort of thing. So I've always kind of used high-end foundations. So the first one is a drugstore, and this is the Revlon Colorstay, and that looks like this. If you've never seen one before, this is the Revlon Colorstay foundation, and this is actually a really good foundation. It's oil free, so it's a combination oily skin. I think they also have it for dry skin as well. It really lasts really well. Like, it really lasts long for me all day. Like, it doesn't feel too heavy on my face, and obviously it depends on how much you apply. It's a really good foundation. I am not sure of all the prices for each item, but I will put them all down below just to compare prices. And then for high end, I have two, which are my two favourites. The first one is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra. That looks like this. And this is what I have on today. This is probably my favourite so far in terms of foundations, because I just love the really light feel. Even though it's a full coverage foundation, it still gives a light feel to my face. Oil free, it lasts for a long time, lasts all day for me. And it's just a really nice foundation. It does have a scent to it, so if you're not really into scents for your foundations and stuff, you might not like this, but this is a really good foundation. I did a review on it, so I will put the link down below as well for the review. Really good foundation. It is on the high end side, so I think it's about 27 or 28 pounds. And then you have the Makeup Forever HD foundation. It looks like this. And this is also a really good foundation as well. Also, I think this is medium coverage. It works really well for photos. Looks really good in photos. Like this HD foundation. And yeah, these two I would say are really good. MAC also do good foundations, but I have stopped using MAC foundations personally, and I'm just using other brands. So if you do have MAC foundations that work for you, don't stop using it. That's just my personal preference. Would I recommend drugstore versus a high-end for foundations? It depends. Some drugstores do good foundations, but they're very rare. But for something like foundation, I would invest in a really good brand that would, you know, last all day on your face, won't slide off during like the warm weather right now, oil free and that sort of thing. So it really is up to you what you want to go for. The next products are concealers. So I have always used high-end concealers because I've never found a drugstore concealer that actually worked and actually did what it said. Until recently, I was watching Little Pumpkin Pie 05. I've actually heard about this concealer before, but didn't think, obviously it's not from the UK, so I didn't even think anything of it. But it's the Maybelline FIT ME concealer, and that looks like this. It's one of those ones that have a doe foot applicator, and this is in the shade 30. I use this in my under eye. It is like a light to medium coverage, so, but it is buildable. So obviously if you are on this shade, you can definitely use it for, you know, all over your face. It's really nice. It doesn't crease or anything. I use it for under my eye, like I said. It doesn't crease, works really well. And the alternative is the MAC Select Cover Up, and I've always used this concealer. I think it's probably the best one because I think I prefer liquid concealers to cream concealers. This is a medium coverage. This is NW40, but I have an NW45 which I use all over my face, and it works really well, covers all my blemishes really well, all my dark spots and stuff, and it's really, really good. So, would I say high-end concealers are better? Personally for me, I have not come across hardly any drugstore concealers, so I always rely on MAC. They have the Studio Finish, they have the Studio Sculpt, they have different ones, but I think this is a really good, one. So this you can't get in the UK. I was lucky to get this on eBay, but I was so excited that I bought everything from the seller. She was selling about 5 of them, so I bought all 5 because I just knew that I wouldn't see them again in the UK. So I'm really sorry that I didn't give anybody else a chance to buy it, but yeah. But if you're in the US, you can get this concealer, obviously. I would probably go for high-end for concealers because they do a good job. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. They last longer and they do cover up all the blemishes and stuff. I'll probably go for my MAC concealers because I've never had a problem with them and they've always done the job. The next item will be powders. So these are face powders. For me as well, I have not come across a drugstore powder that worked really well. I've always relied on my MAC MSF powder, my Mineralize Skinfinish powder. But I've recently come across Ben Nye translucent powders. So I happened to purchase the Ben Nye translucent powder in Chestnut, and that just looks like this. And this is pretty much identical shades to the dark deep powder, and I have to say this powder is amazing. It also helps to reduce shine as well, and the fact that it's coloured, so it's, you know, I can use it as a face powder. I have that on today as well. I really, really like this powder. This is only £6.10, and it's like 49 grams of product, and this is only 10 grams. I think this probably costs like 20 something pounds. So compared to the two, this is really, really good. The thing about this though, this is a light coverage, so if you wanted just to have a nice natural look, this will probably be a lot better. But then again, you can always apply this really sparingly. Between the two, which one wins? I think it's probably a tie. If I had to pick in terms of price points, I'd probably go for Ben Nye because it's a lot cheaper. But I've always liked the fact that this worked so well for me. It's a compact. I wish this was compact as well, but it's not. So I don't know. I would probably say this is a tie for me because I like them both. I don't know. If you can't afford the MAC MSF powder, I would definitely recommend Ben Nye, because they're really, really good. I also have the banana powder as well, and that's really good as well. Sometimes I use that for setting my under eye concealer. And then we have setting powders, like something to set your foundation. I'm recently in the process of trying different ones just to see which one works for me, works really well. So you have the Ben Nye banana powder. This I also wanted to try out. This I use to set my under eye, but not all over my face because it's really light. You can see that's the colour of it. It's quite light. I will put the link down below for where you can get it in the UK. And another powder I have discovered, which is a drugstore, is the Collection 2000 pressed powder. And that looks like this. And this is in the shade Translucent. This I also use to set my under eye concealer, and it works really well. I think it's just meant to be a normal face powder, but I used this for under my eyes, and I think it was about £2. So for the UK people, Collection 2000. For the US, I would try the Ben Nye banana powder as well. But I want to probably get a darker shade to try under my eye, because this, if you apply too much of this, you can get that white sort of white cast in your face. So I want to try a darker shade. They do come in different shades, and I really love Ben Nye. I'm so happy that I've got introduced to this, and I definitely want to try out some more. And then for high end, you have the well-known MAC Prep and Prime translucent finishing powder. This is like a white powder. I have the compact form, It does come in the loose form as well, but I prefer the compact. And I also have the Laura Mercier finishing powder as well, the translucent finishing powder, translucent loose setting powder. This one I bought on a hype because everyone says it's so good, so amazing. I don't really see anything amazing about this powder. I also use this for under my eye and just top of my T-zone to reduce shine. It does do that, but I find that the MAC one actually reduces the lines under my eyes. So I don't know if you've noticed in some of my old tutorials, I would use this to reduce my tired lines under my eyes. It honestly gets rid of that line that goes down my face, like goes down my eye like that. It's amazing. So the only thing I'll recommend this powder for is just getting rid of those lines. But I wouldn't say you have to rush out and get this. There are alternatives, like I said, the Ben 9 powder or the Collection 2000. So who wins? To be honest, I don't know. They both work really well. You don't have to spend so much on the high-end powders to do the job. Next thing I'm going to talk about are contour powders, contour kits, that sort of thing, bronzers. For me, I've always used my Sleek Face contour kit, and this has been a really good product. It looks like that. You have your contour colour and then your highlight. This is the shade medium. And this has been an amazing product. It's only £6 something, and I've always used it. I got the bronzer. This is the Covergirl bronzer in Ebony Bronze, and that looks like this. It's a really nice shade. So these two are classed as drugstore. I don't have any high-end products to compare, but I would definitely recommend these two as contour bronzer type products. So I wouldn't go out and spend so much on high-end items. These two, the Sleek Face Contour Kits, you can't get it in the US, but they do have a website which you can order from. Or the Covergirl Bronzer. These two, definitely highly recommended. The next categories are blushes. And for drugstore, I have picked the Femme blushes. I actually bought this palette from eBay to store my Femme blushes because it looks a lot nicer than the rectangle palette. And these are the ones that I have. Femme blushes are really, really, really pigmented. Literally one swatch, you get a lot of pigment. It's amazing. So I would definitely recommend Femme for drugstore. Or if you can get hold of them, Sleek also do really good blushes which look like these. This is pomegranate. Also quite pigmented, not as pigmented as the Femme blushes, but they're really, really good as well. These are some of the ones I have. I have pretty much all the blushes they've come out with, pretty much all of them actually, probably like one or two that I haven't got. So I would recommend, for drugstore, I would definitely recommend Femme and Sleek blushes. The link for this palette as well I'll put down below. And obviously you have your high-end, which are MAC and Nars. So I have about a couple of MAC blushes. This is the Desert Rose blush. I wouldn't say you're missing out on anything from the high-end side because you can get exact same shades and colours and everything from the drugstore. Definitely check out Femme if you don't already know about them. They can be bought from makeupmania.com, and if you're in the UK, it is geniacosmetics.co.uk. So definitely check them out. So in this case, I would say drugstore wins because they're very affordable and also very pigmented as well. So you don't have to spend God knows how much, £17 for a MAC blush compared to £2.99 for a Femme blush. Drugstore wins this one.